the most southern cup I think you could ever.
Hey, you didn't see it in the see here, gang. Dickie's barbecue. See here, see here.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time. I know that this is like 5 years in the making, and it's like it never seems like the best opportune moment, especially, and I know it's very difficult starting this podcast and wanting to have people come here. And so I really appreciate you taking the time.
My pleasure.
I'm very much looking forward to this conversation.
I don't know what to expect here.
Yeah, I know. And like you even said, like, I don't want to know.
No, I did not want to. I want this to be straight up. Right off, whatever it is.
And I think that's one of the things that I like. I mean, I can understand people like, I just want to know what to talk about so I can kind of think about what I want to say and things like that. But you are very good at like understanding what you want to say in the moment and listening to the spirits leading on things like that. And so in discerning that. And also like just our history, which like we'll definitely get into that as well, because I'm interested to talk about. I don't think we've ever actually sat down and talked about the first interaction. I don't recall a lot to because I was still
You're scared
young.
to death when you were scared to death. You were shaking in your boots.
Oh, absolutely. But the first thing, and I think probably the most important thing we could talk about, is this Avengers movie coming out tomorrow. I've got my tickets.
Oh, dude,
for tomorhow now.
I'm
going tomorrow night.
Are you going to go see it in 3D? You going to go?
Well, no, I'm going to go see it in 2D, but I'm going to see it in the IMAX in Little Rock.
Okay, yeah, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
I won't go tomorrow.
That's the only way to do it,
But you see, I won't go tomorrow night. I can't go.
No, sure.
But I'll make it this weekend.
I got to be honest with you. So a friend and I were like, we want to go see this. Both our sons have like t-ball games and everything, right? So we're like, we got to go late. And then as I'm booking the tickets for 10:15, I'm going, whew, boy.
Now remember, you're not as young as you used to be either.
Boy, do I know it.
You can't stay up as late as you used to.
It's like when I turned 30, things changed. I immediately started balding the day I turned 30. And like, I've got this bald spot, like, right in here. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what is that? And then like, I had back surgery a year ago this week, actually. No back pain. I'd had back pain for years. Years. Mm-hmm. And now a year completely back pain free is just like, I can't describe that feeling. But I'm getting old. Sucks, definitely.
I got news for you. This is what I came up with.
Yeah,
aging is not for sissies.
No,
at all.
No, and honestly, part of me is like, at like 70, I'm good to go. You know, like,
hey, dude, I ain't far from that now.
Well, but
your audience doesn't know that, but I'm not far from that now.
How old are you right now?
Dude, don't I look good?
Oh, you look amazing. You're like what I wish I could look like. But I like, one, exercise is definitely going to help that. But like, two, like your hair and everything is just, it looks so good.
Dude,
you're thin, but like, like I'm balding. All right. Like this is a critical matter that like I am actively thinking about how to
just let it ride.
Really?
Let it ride, dude.
I just can't.
Hey, when you know and where you know your identity lies,
yes,
it doesn't matter.
It's true.
Get over yourself.
And I also love my hair.
Yourself.
I know. That's true. It's a prideful thing for sure.
I know.
But boy, it is just, and I've definitely noticed my energy has gone down, though I could still stay with the best of them. Right. But honestly, staying up till 10:15 when this movie starts, and I'm thinking it's a 3-hour movie.
Oh, it is?
It's a 3-hour movie.
I didn't know it's full 3 hours.
Mm-hmm. They couldn't make it shorter. You can't make this movie shorter.
Not this one, no. Huh.
But I've actually stopped looking at Twitter. I've told YouTube to not show me anything involving the word Avengers or Iron Man or like these key things.
Right.
Because I watched the first trailer over maybe a year ago when they released it. Mm-hmm. But I've not watched anything else, and I don't want to because I don't want it to be ruined.
Exactly. I'm with you.
And yeah, I'm going to wait. This episode's not going to go online until afterwards, so nobody can ruin it in the comments of the video or anything. Yeah. I'm dead set on not having this ruined.
I agree.
Because it is all led up to this.
I know.
A 10-year journey.
I know.
It's crazy.
I can't wait.
Yeah, 2008. That's when Iron Man came out.
Yeah, I know. I'm ready. I'm ready to go see it. I want to see them defeat the villain.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this is coming.
And then it's like their contracts. A lot of their contracts are up, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so like, Iron Man,
Captain America.
They're all. I think maybe even Thor. Maybe like. How do you do? That'll be what's
the remake. So what's in my generation?
Yeah.
Star Wars. Let's say Star Wars for example.
Yeah.
The first one. You know, we grew up with the first ones.
Yeah.
And Star Trek. How are you gonna cast new characters for that?
Right.
When we're still alive and we're going, oh no, that ain't the same.
Have you seen the new Star Wars? Like the two that they have?
Yeah, I saw.
2 new ones. What do you think? The direction is.
I thought it was okay. I thought the last one when they did Han Solo.
Yeah,
I thought they did a good job with that.
Really?
I did.
I haven't seen it. A lot of people said it was not good. It didn't do well in the box office.
I know it didn't, but I thought it did good.
But the story did
and
justice.
I'll tell you another one I thought they did good with just recently, and that's when they did Bumblebee. Transformers.
I haven't seen that one either.
Dude.
Now, you're a huge Transformer fan.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why, but I am not as big a Transformer fan as... I like the movies, but I like watching them like on a Saturday afternoon. Just,
I understand.
But like... I think grew up with
I grew up with it.
I mean, like that was
and
like,
my kids grew up with Optimus Prime, and we still got
see that.
Hey, dude, and we still got the original Optimus Prime.
Oh yeah,
in Jeremy's bedroom. We still got it.
I bet that's worth quite a bit of money.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with that. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, it's definitely cool that like you can't distinguish these movies from reality.
That's right.
It looks like Bumblebee is real.
Yeah.
It looks like they're interacting, and that's really cool. I mean, video games is almost getting to that point too.
Are they? I'm not a video game guy.
Right, but there's been some like virtual reality stuff that like the graphics are getting so good you almost, if you didn't know you had goggles on, and there's a theory that Elon Musk jokingly said, and that some people have kind of like, oh, because we're so close to like reaching that, what if we're all just in this alternate reality type thing?
No.
You know, it's like, why do people waste their time on that kind of stuff?
Like
they
don't have, they need
theory.
A job. I think they need a job.
It's like the flat Earth theory. There's actually legitimate scientists, right? That are. You may tilt the microphone up too, and let it go. If it goes down that way, it's directed toward your microphone. Yeah, I'm not sure. We got to figure out how to like.
Yeah, I know. We worked on this before.
Yeah, we did work on this.
I'll try to do it.
Yeah, that's good. But yeah, it's cool to see those movies and to get those realized. Do you want to put the pop filter out of your way?
This is the real deal here.
I know.
Man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, check it here. Let's just do this.
Hey,
I think the pop filter. I think this is like not for you. You know what I mean? And then just put that up.
There we go.
And then
How's that?
Goes down.
Yeah. Let's do it. I think the filter is weighing too much on it.
Yeah, Byron may get on to me for not using the filter.
You'll get over it. You'll get over it, Byron.
But yeah, so you are also one of the people that. So we have a history together. We'll get into that in just a minute. But you embrace technology better than anyone that's older in my life has done. And I'm interested to see. Have you seen the Tesla vehicles? And everything, the auto driving.
Yeah, I don't like it.
No?
No.
Really?
I'm not about auto driving.
Why is that?
No, because see, you're taking the experience of driving out.
Yeah.
If you take that experience away from you, why do you even need to go anywhere?
Yeah.
And so I'm not about auto driving. You're not going to auto drive for me. I can't.
Oh, especially, I think that there are some things like, they've got the semi truck that Tesla is about to come out with.
I know. I'm not wild about that either.
It's pretty powerful.
I know, but I'm not wild about it. I'm old school, dude.
I get it. There's definitely something different about feeling the motor and kicking it and
we call
manual
it
driving.
We call it pedal on the right.
Yeah, there's definitely
if you can't
something
feel it
about that.
If you can't feel it,
yeah. But I mean, for someone like me, and I'm sure you can guess that I'm like all about this with the artificial intelligence, machine learning part of my career. I think that it creates opportunities though. So the one thing that Tesla just announced yesterday, and I heard Elon Musk talk about this a year ago, and I go, that dude's about to launch a service for this. Because he was like, well, think about it. If we have auto driving vehicles, if your car drops you off at work, you could then have it go do ride sharing, kind of like Uber, while you're at work, making you money, and then it comes to pick you up, and like you decide when it does that or not. That's pretty interesting, right?
Oh yeah, I can see this. Okay.
Yeah.
I can, and it's your generation. The generation, my grandkids.
Yeah.
Y'all might not think it, but I've got grandkids. I may not look like it, but I've got grandkids.
Yeah.
But you
got all kinds of grandkids. You got extended grandkids.
Dude, I've got kids everywhere.
You got kids everywhere.
I mean, I just got through raising two more. So
but they're definitely. I mean, like Brody.
Yeah.
My son. For those out there, I mean, like, I think he's going to live in a world where he's going to go, oh, that you actually drive that car.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
That's going to be fascinating.
See, my generation, I've seen the cell phone.
Yeah.
See, we went from rotary.
Yeah.
You know, just corded.
Yep.
You know, we used to hang it on the wall.
Yeah.
And we would talk for hours.
Did you always have that? Like growing up and everything, you always had a rotary phone?
We always had a rotary phone.
Yeah. And it was just that one phone. And you had to stand in one spot.
Exactly. We got the extension cords. We would get the extension cord. We'd move over to the other room.
Move it to your room or something? Yeah.
But it hung on the wall. You know, it's a little, it's hung on the wall, you know.
Yeah. I've seen movies where, like, you know, the ones that you can pick up and everything, they'll have a really long cable you could take it to the phone, take it to the room.
That's what we had.
Yeah, it's interesting how things have changed over the years. I think that driving, I mean, you know, like Elon Musk talked about, you know, you only use your vehicle for like 10% of the time, the normal person, driving to work, things like that.
Correct.
And it's like, if it could be used to make you money and also like serve that 10% of the time, then it's something that helps you even more. Do you have any safety concerns? Because I don't. I think they've already proven that it's safer than a human driver because it has all these cameras and sensors that are paying attention at all times, and within a millisecond,
I know
it's making decisions to slow down based on other drivers around you.
Right.
And so they've gotten it to 150% safer than human driving. They're going to get it to 200% by the end of the year, is what they're saying.
Good for them.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Yeah. Do you think that there's any safety, or do you think, maybe it is more safer?
It probably is, but see, when you take away your senses, when you're taking away your skill set.
Sure.
And when you take away your skill set, then you're taking away your sharpness to be able to react and counter-react and do all that. So if you're sitting in this vehicle, for me, if I was be sitting in this vehicle and here we go, and what's to say I wouldn't take a nap?
What do you do? Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, that's the big concern right now is like there was somebody that did fall asleep that didn't have an accident, but it was like they said it on Twitter or whatever. And there was a big uproar of like, oh, so like I think the government quickly got involved and was like, there has to be some safety measure in place. So right now, the way that self-driving works is you have to touch the steering wheel every 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Or it will actually
pull over to the side of the road and
it'll
stop.
start slowing down. Okay. And then if you still don't react, it'll pull off to the side.
Okay.
Pretty smart.
Right.
I think that's good. But definitely we're going to get to the point where that's not going to have to be necessary. And where there's maybe even, again, if your car's going and doing Uber type stuff for you during the day and you're not in it, then there's no car at all, no person at all driving. But I think it kind of leads to a conversation about a bigger issue and something you brought up. You're taking away these skill sets that are very common right now. And I think that machine learning, artificial intelligence, and robotics have already been doing this, but we're going to see a big ramp up in this, right?
Yes,
of like
I agree. I believe it's coming.
Don't like the jobs are taken by machines, by artificial intelligence, and so we have this upcoming problem, I think, where there's going to be a lot of people out of work and that don't have the skill set to do other types of work. I'm interested to hear your viewpoint of like, what do we do in that situation? And by we, I mean the church, right? Like, what's our obligation to people like that? This is something I've been like thinking about and kind of wrestling with the last few months of like, I care about the technology side, but on the humanity side, how do we address that? Should we address that? What do we do? Because again, a lot of people find identity in their work.
Right.
I mean, it's unhealthy, but that is something that a lot of people
and
do.
you lead and something else through your work also. I'll speak for us and our generation, my generation.
Yeah.
Our legacy is built with our work.
Yeah.
How we have performed. Have I been honest with you? Have I been good to you? Have I give you something down the road? Or and all of that builds legacy. And when you build on a legacy like that, then that moves. And later in life, then you've got something to fall back on. I can pick up the phone, I can call you up and say, hey, Matt, I need XYZ. And you go, got it, Mr. Langley. Boom. And you're done. Whereas if you don't just keep creating, or not creating, but when you need this skill set.
Yeah.
The church needs to come alongside, especially the younger generation, and I'm talking about younger than you.
Yeah.
But need to come alongside and help. It's called your spiritual gifts. Okay?
Yeah.
And you need to know where those spiritual gifts, and when you come to me and interview for a job, first thing I'm going to ask you, I said, do you know what your gifts are? Yeah. You know what your gifts and talents are. I just did it this week.
What skill set do you have?
What skill set do you have? And most of the young men out there I'm going to say 10th grade and up, including college students, can't answer that question.
Yeah.
Cannot answer that question.
I don't think I could have when I 10th grade and up. I think I had maybe a clearer idea, like from senior year on, I knew I wanted to lead worship and things like that.
Right.
And that changed over time.
Right. And you'll evolve. You'll do more things. You'll do as you find out what your gifts are, your talents are, you will evolve and you will kind of move into another area in your life.
Yeah.
But I think as a church, I really believe we should spend a lot of time with the younger generation to sharpen their skill set. Yeah. Whatever that may be, and I think that's what as you asked me as a church, and I think that's one of the things that we've got. We need to look back and do that. It's more than just teaching Sunday school.
Yeah.
It's more than youth trips. It's more than, and for my family, for us, and you know this as well as anybody, because you kind of come through our school, you kind of came through our house.
Yeah.
And so, and that's what we did. We looked for your skill set and we honed it and made it even better. And so, if you ask the one question the church I think needs to do with the younger generation, let's find out what their gifts are.
Yeah. The career advice that you received in life, and even the career advice that I received, I think is going to look very different for the career advice that Brody, my 6-year-old, should receive.
I believe that too.
I think that there's a lot of benefit for no matter what industry you're working in, knowing how to work with data, how to calculate data and figure out like conversion rates, things like math. I always grew up being like, I'm never going to use this. Oh. And now it's like I use it all the time and I'm seeing the value of it.
Right.
But I think that our schools should also start pointing people in that direction too. As a man, and I'm talking about men of faith, I think one of the qualities of men is you want to feel a sense of accomplishment in your work, because you take a sense of like pride in that, and of like, I've honed this skill, I've built this muscle that allows me to do this. So I think we do as a church have to figure that out. One of the guys I'm hoping to have on the podcast is actually writing a book over all of this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he's with the Southern Baptist Convention. He's an ethicist.
Okay.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I'm interested. But yeah, I've wanted to kind of see your thoughts there. It's definitely an interesting time. I mean, it's just different. The skill sets and everything.
Well, I've seen a lot of changes in my lifetime, so I can just imagine what it's going to be like for you guys.
Yeah.
And especially our kids.
I mean, it's definitely like, I'm working from home now and working with a company that teaches education and teaches actually, we help people move into a career in data science, machine learning and data analytics now. And I just, it's very rewarding for me because I see these stories of people that are like, one guy was like, I was living in my parents' house. I didn't really have a direction. Now I have this career path. Now I've got my own apartment, and I'm just like, oh, I love giving that.
But you see, a guy, our DNA and our DNA, we're built. God built us with this drive.
Yeah.
All of us have it. We just got to find out what it is,
where it is,
and where it is. It's in there. I had a guy tell me one time. He said, Sid, don't ever. You're looking at that person, but inside, it's in there.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's in there. You just got to figure out how to get it to come to the surface.
Yeah.
To extract it.
Yeah. It's like I've talked to some college ministries before, and I've always said there's two things in life that I've noticed, that everyone has a passion and they have a purpose. And the passion is that skill set, that thing that wakes you up in the morning and keeps you up at night, that you love working on. And I think Louis Giglio has a sermon where he talks about, like, it may be plumbing and you get really excited about plumbing, or it may be math and a mathematician, and like doing that, and whatever it is, that's your passion. And then the purpose is the same for everyone, is to glorify God and all the things that we're doing, and to spread the word as we go, as we share that passion and we do that work.
Correct.
And I think that's, I actually just remember that, and that I think that's a pretty good framework for, like, let's help these people find their passion, and teach them along the way, and teach
them how to excel at that passion. Teach them how to grow in that, and so they're not like if you're going to be a plumber, you be the best plumber out there. You'll smile. You put your good clothes on every day, and you go out there and smile and work with the public, and hold their hand, and you love on them, and you're the hands and feet of Jesus, but yet you're the best plumber out there. And the great thing about it, you're gonna get paid to do that.
Exactly.
I mean, hey, you're doing what you like to do, and you're gonna get paid to do it, so you're gonna make a living at it. And that's why God created the men. We want to fix something. We want to, we're task oriented. That's the reason we can't talk to our wives when we got a task going on. We can't do two things at one time.
It's definitely interesting working at home. Courtney has gotten really great at, like, helping, kind of like when they get home, I'm still working and making sure the kids are, semi-quiet and everything. And I've tried to make sure meetings are more during the morning and everything. But man, first starting out, it was like, oh, can you do this, this, and this? And I was like, well, I can when I'm off work, but I'm not technically home. I'm at work. And she's like, well, yeah, but you're there. And I'm like, no, but I'm working. Like, I'm in meetings.
That's right.
And it's funny, working from home, people are like, what do you even do all day? Do you just sit around at home and watch YouTube? And I'm like, no. People, like, what do you really think that's like what they're paying me all that money for?
That's what they think, because it's at home status. It's that mentality.
I guess so.
It's like, for years you went home and you didn't do nothing but eat, sleep, and watch everything.
I mean, like, I will be honest, I wear pajama pants every single day.
Well,
from here up is all I have to look good for, right?
That's right.
And it's not bad, but it took a long time to get there. I didn't start out there. And I think that's probably a lot of people around my age and a little bit younger been like, oh, you started there. And it's like, no. I think that's something you actually taught me early on, is like, you do the work and you put in the hard time and everything, and you do it to the best of your ability and with a smile on. And one day you'll go before kings. One day you'll go, what scripture is that? I'm having a hard time that coming to mind, but there's a scripture that talks about going before the king.
You will not go before kings until it's time. And it's like, there is a time, and your work will be the proof of your ability to step into that. Correct.
That new thing.
And see, you're just getting started.
Oh, yeah.
And, and I've always told you, ever since long time ago, son, I've always told you, remember me when you get to the top.
Yes.
Whatever the top is, I want you to remember me, and you will. Now,
it's funny now, like I think you've reached a new top more than any of us. We'll talk about that definitely as well. So I want to start out, I think I want to talk a little bit about our history.
Okay.
Because I'm curious to hear your perspective of how we met. And I think that you knew my family before we even started hanging around each other.
Correct.
And so tell me about meeting me. When did that happen, and how just kind of like things got started between the two of us?
I was watching you. I would see you at church on Sunday.
Yeah,
that's when
we went to the Methodist church.
We went to Methodist church in Searcy, yeah. And I would see you there on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I saw this scrawny little kid.
Yes.
And I was watching your mama discipline you. Right. That's what I was watching.
Yeah.
And I went to myself, that kid needs a little extra.
Yeah.
And so one day I went to your mama and I said, I think it'd work better if you did it like this. And so I was helping her correct you.
Yeah.
She did not like that at all.
She didn't?
She didn't.
Really?
And she didn't like that because I was intruding in her space.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you come on a little forceful?
Probably.
Did you? Like thinking about that.
I probably did. At the time, I probably did. It was something. You did something. You did something. You was just a kid, you know, and you did, and so, and I kind of went, don't you think you'd get a better response if you did it like this?
Yeah. Oh, she didn't like that.
She didn't like that.
I can imagine that.
I know. Yeah. You know your mama.
Goodness.
I know your mama. But yeah, anyway, and so that's kind of what started it. And I said, well, here, I'll just take him home.
Yeah.
And she goes, no, you won't. I go, yeah, I will. I'm fixing to start working with him. And so that's kind of what I started.
Yeah.
So a little at a time, you know, every chance I got.
And we started by, like, I started doing sound.
Yeah, around 13, 14.
Yeah, I think it was 13.
Something like that. Mm-hmm.
And so we've known each other for about almost 20 years.
Nearly 20.
Yeah, mm-hmm. which is so crazy for me because I'm 30 and I'm like, that's 2/3 of my life right there.
Right.
But yeah, so we started hanging out. You were teaching me sound, and really you got the interest sparked in technology. You well, maybe not sparked, but you definitely fueled the flame of me being interested in technology.
Correct.
You had me doing a lot of different things.
That's correct. I was experimenting with you.
Yeah.
See, I was checking your talents.
Yeah.
Your gifts and your talents is what I was doing. And you know, I don't know whether you were getting that at home or not. That was not.
No,
I didn't know that. But you know, I could see stuff in. I've always had this gift.
Yeah.
To see things in people that a lot of people couldn't see. And so I took a lot. I needed to get my hands on you per se to kind of help fuel your gifts. And so early on, I could tell that you were really gifted at this.
Yeah, so doing sound. You started having me edit video, and I was fascinated with that.
That's really what lit you up.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like it's a skill set that I loved having even now, like getting this podcast put up on the internet and everything. I need to know how to work with video. It's a skill set that throughout time I've used, and definitely something that I found fascinating. And you had the best tools too. You had Final Cut Pro back in the day, that G4 Macintosh.
Yeah, we had that big enough in that room.
Yeah, man, that was a powerful computer.
Dude, that was a Cadillac back then.
That was the Cadillac.
That was the Ferrari. What do you mean?
Now
Cadillac?
This little thing here outperforms that like crazy. But back then it was just like, woo, it would look good.
That was it, buddy.
Yeah. And then you also had me doing non-technical things as well. I mean, like throughout high school, you would have me come and I worked there around the house for you, splitting logs and things like that.
I wish they could have seen your first time on a tractor trying to mow.
Yeah, it was not.
That was not your
finest
best
moment.
That wasn't your best moment. No, because you didn't get that. That was not. Working outside with your hands, mechanical
things, and it wasn't a forte that I.
You had a huge mental block. I mean, it was just like you could not get into that realm. It just
But I think that's where I started noticing, like. So you talked about at home, you didn't know if I was getting that. I didn't necessarily get direction of like, oh, hey, try this thing, or hey, go do this, see if you. Because I mean. My parents didn't, I think, know how to handle a kid that was interested in technology, because the technology in the 90s and in the early 2000s was just really starting to get started. I mean, like, it's like the computer in the 90s was just still becoming a home commodity.
Right. And a lot of people are scared of it.
And a lot of people are scared of it, because then in the 90s you start getting the internet.
That's hard. That's hard like for this generation to understand that, but it was. They were scared of it.
Well, and like we've got older guys in the 40s and 50s that are watching this that are just like, yeah, I remember going through that and thinking like what am I really doing with this thing? I didn't get a lot of that, and I have friends now that kind of like look to me and be like, hey, you're weird and have like these talents with technology, and you like video games. I have no idea what to do with my child that's like this. Like, what do I do? And I actually enjoy like talking to parents about that.
Well, so you get to steer them now.
Yeah.
Like I got to steer you.
Yeah.
See, what you're paying it forward.
Oh, definitely.
And roundabout, you're paying it forward, you know, just because this older gentleman here got to say it with you many years ago, and now here you are paying it forward with another generation. So.
But there were definitely pain points to mentoring me, right? Like,
your attention span was very, just so that your audience will know, your attention span was terrible.
Absolutely,
dude. You bounced off the walls. You was worse than a gray squirrel in a cage.
Yeah.
You know,
and.
Can you remember me getting you by the face like this and holding your head straight so I could talk to you?
To like get eye contact,
focus,
right?
Focus.
Yes.
Look at me. Yeah.
Look at me. Did you take your pill?
Yeah.
Look at me.
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah. Did you take your little white pill this morning? Yeah.
And I think you were honestly the first person to really just literally just kind of put their hands and go, you have to focus. You can't be doing this. Like my parents would definitely be like, hey, stop that. You need to focus. And I do that with Brody. I see a lot of that with Brody, right?
Yeah.
And so and it's funny because like, even though I know how sometimes I'm just frustrated and I feel frustrated but I see a lot of I think it's because I see a lot of my
You will see it.
Yeah.
Have you gotten Brody by the face yet and held him like? Have you?
Oh yeah.
Have you,
well,
okay.
and I get down on his level.
Yeah.
That is something that I've found works really well with him. Is just getting down and going, I want you to look at me, and I get this close to him, and I put my hand on his shoulder. This is the Sid Langley 101 technique. Put your hand on their shoulder and just like pull them in, and that. It's something about that definitely captures things. Like you were the first person to really
it'll put you in my space.
Yes,
that's what it is. See, it brings you out of yours and it brings you into my space.
Yeah,
and when I've got you in my space, you can't
go anywhere.
You can't go anywhere else. You know. And, it's just I don't know. It's just a technique that. I was born with. It works. It just works. You know.
Yeah.
To be able to touch you. Something about touch.
Your kids, did either of them kind of like struggle with attention span things and everything like that?
No, they were very driven, very focused.
Was I kind of like the first one?
Yeah, you were.
Like,
you were.
Boy, this dude is everywhere. Like,
you were everywhere. Out of all the young men that's come through our place, you're the one. You're the one that broke the mold.
Absolutely. Yeah. Was there any other like difficulties you found mentoring me over the years? I mean, and think through like not just childhood, but on through college, on through and like when I was dating and things like that, and then getting married and things like that. Like and also just be completely blunt and honest and open about these things, because I want to dive into what challenges over the years have you developed, not just with me maybe, but maybe with other people, of discipling and mentoring people. What are those challenges and how do you navigate those challenges?
For you, son, the focus.
Yeah.
That was your hardest thing.
Yeah.
It was focus.
Yeah.
To keep you, I call it reeled in.
Yeah.
You know, to keep you focused on what the task is at hand.
Yeah.
So that was, you were one of the most difficult ones.
Yeah.
To be able to do that, because you'd start whatever it was, I'd give you a task, but you wouldn't finish it.
Yeah.
You'd walk off from it.
Yeah.
And I'd go, hey, come back here. And you go, hey, what do I have to do for? And you know, and we'd go on and on for a little while.
We go around and around a little bit.
We go round and round. But I would win.
Yeah.
But I also compromised with you.
Yeah.
You may not realize that, but at the time, but I'd compromise because I could realize real quick I couldn't get to where you need to be with the technique that I wanted to use. So I had to change my technique with you to be able to get you to where it's kind of like that day I put you up on the stage with your 4-string guitar. You remember that? And it's kind of like you were starting out in the music business and you was kind of getting, and I could see that in you. And I just handed you the mic and put you up on the platform. I said, "Here, song, sing."
That was the first time I'd ever done anything.
And sing your song
in front of people.
In front of people.
Yeah.
And you scared to death, but dude,
I remember that.
But what did it do for you?
Yeah, I mean, it gave me confidence.
It gave you huge confidence.
And I think I remember even saying, like, I don't know, Miss Sid, like, I got to look at my strings. I can't even look out there like those other people do when they, and you're like, no. Go up there and look at your guitar. Do what you got to do, but go do it. And go get that. It started building a muscle.
That's right.
Right? And like, I kept doing it and I continued doing it. And then I could look to the audience, engage with the audience eventually.
Correct. And look at you now.
Yeah, and now it's like leading worship and
But where would you have been? Where would you have been if
you hadn't
if it didn't
push that
one time?
Yeah. No.
You know.
Well, I think in terms of just specifically that situation, I definitely would have. I don't know where that would have kicked in at, and it may have never kicked in.
It may have never, because you may have never got the opportunity other than, somebody else might not have seen that in you.
I think in life as well, though, I think that I would have been in a very different place as well. Like you were the first mentor in my life, the first person that said, you're coming with me. And you're going to watch what I do. You're going to, you brought me into your home. You didn't shy away and be like, oh, go do this over here while I deal with this situation. That may be like conversations between you and Janetta, everything else. Like you were you had me in these moments seeing how a husband and wife would talk and like modeling that. And I'm sure it's like because of that, we're thinking inwardly, thinking like, what do I need to change in my situation? And then you had me doing all these things. I think that in life in general, I would have been in a very different place.
I agree. I saw something in you, son, way early that needed to be brought forth. Because if it didn't, because I knew your past. So I know your family.
Well, and you knew my biological father too.
Yeah, I know you. Right? I know your biological father, and I knew that was not a good.
No. I mean, for context,
we'll just stop with that.
Well, I think my biological father had cheated on all 6 of his wives, right? And so you can go from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think. Well, and in kindergarten, I was passed around to every single kindergarten teacher. I don't know if I ever told you that.
No, I didn't know that one.
The last one to take me was her daughter was in the same grade as me. And she actually told my mom, you should get ready for him to steal your car and go to juvie, because that's who he's going to grow up to be. That's what she said about me. And I'm like, well, that's a 5 or a 6-year-old. I guess I'm not a teacher, so I don't know. Maybe it is something that you have this instinct, but I'm like, it's kind of a terrible thing to say.
Yeah, well, see, the thing about this, I'm going to flip back to the Christian side.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to flip back to the church.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Don't you be saying things like that to a young kid, because you have no idea who that child is going to turn out to be.
Yeah.
And so many times that we can speak life, or we can speak death over a child.
Yeah.
And I refuse to speak death over a child.
Yeah.
I want to speak life just like you. I want to speak life. And all these young men and girls that's come through our place want to speak life over them. And so I'll tell you right quick, shut up.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's and actually, it's ironic because that person's daughter was in the same grade as me, grew up in the same school. And that person, her daughter's now into drugs and things, but she was very popular in school, and she was very she got straight A's, and it's you don't know,
you have no idea. And see the church, you go back to the church again.
Yeah,
the church,
the responsibility.
It's a responsibility still for the church, and for men like me, and I'm speaking to the generation out there now. Yeah, get you a young man.
Yeah.
Go fetch you one somewhere. Yeah. Go sit there in church and look and see who is it today.
Yeah.
Who is it that needs our help, and do like what we did, take you into our house.
Yeah.
You see the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
But look at you today.
Oh yeah.
You've got a wife and 2 kids and all this going on for you. Man. You love Jesus, and it's just like.
Well, that's the thing. You definitely never once have you ever spoken death. Have I ever seen you speak ill towards that person is just going to end up blah, 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 blah. I specifically remember a phrase that you told me, a truth that you spoke over me. And it's something that I speak over my children, and that I speak over the guys that I mentor and the guys that I'm discipling, is you are a chosen one. You are the chosen one of God, and you stick to his path. You stick to his truth. You stay in his word. You're going to be all right, son.
That's right.
That phrase right there comes in and I hear your voice every time it comes in my head when I'm thinking, what should I do? What situation? What's the thing? What's the right thing here?
Right.
And it's just that truth comes up in my head, and it centers me. Right. It centers me.
Right.
And I think that's helped keep me focused in my career and things like that as well.
Well, see, that's and a guy, especially for a guy, you will hear words ring in your ears. They'll come back. And so that's why I'm very cautious to speak words of life, because I want you to hear those words. I want you to be able to, this is what this means. This is it. And so then one day you can turn. Give it like you're doing today. I've kind of modified that phrase just a little bit now.
Have you?
Yeah. This is for men or women. This is kind of when I'm speaking to them. I say, look at yourself this way. You are a son of the Most High God.
Yeah.
You are the head, not the tail. You're the beginning and not the end.
Yeah.
You repeat those words over and over and over to yourself until you get it in your head, because you are a son of the Most High God.
That's the thing that should ring true. Right. Yeah. And the psychology of that gets stuck in your head growing up, and the ill things that get spoken to you growing up definitely stick with you. Right. I definitely see that. So talking a little bit, I want to talk about your story a little bit and dive into that.
All right.
Tell me a little bit about, I want to quickly kind of go over your youth and kind of get to the point where you're about 20.
Oh, my youth was ugly.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever asked.
No, you haven't.
But tell me kind of like growing up and things, and kind of share like what learnings you have from that. How did that create the person you are today?
Well, the person I am today is not the person that I grew up, the family I grew up in.
Okay.
I grew up in a alcoholic family.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. I had four sisters under me. Three. I had three. I can't even remember. Three sisters under me. I was the oldest of four.
Yeah.
My childhood wasn't real good.
Really?
We had some good moments. Don't get me wrong. Every family has some good moments, but it could have been a lot better, I think.
Yeah.
My daddy did a good job on some issues as far as helping raise and teach and show and speak, but our home life was not really good. It looked good on the outside, but on the inside, buddy, it was ugly.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of families.
Yeah, there's a lot of families like that. I'm not going to dive into that very deep.
That's fine.
Because
how do you, if just thinking back, what do you think could have been done for your father, maybe as the man of the house?
Mm-hmm.
What might he could have done? Because you don't want to get into like what if situations.
Right. I'm not.
But like just knowing what you know now and the person you are now, what do you think he could have done to start leading the family in a different direction? Just for guys that are out there that may be in a family and they're like, we put on this persona when we walk outside the door. When it's terrible inside.
I believe if he would have lived it instead of talking it. Talk's cheap.
Yeah.
Living it cost.
Yeah.
We were that family that grew up on the second row on church every Sunday morning, regardless of what happened on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And come Sunday afternoon at 2:00, we went back to another way of living.
Yeah. I think it's getting,
and so it would have been better if I would say, and for the audience out there, you need to live it.
Yeah.
Don't speak it, live it. Because your kids are seeing you, they're watching you live, and they're watching you day by day in every situation and the decisions that you make and how you make them. And that's part of what's wrong with the church today, is because the new generation or the younger generation coming up, I'm going to say your generation and down, they've watched all these lies all these years. Yeah. They've watched their parents go off and do something else, but they tell, well, you need to be in Sunday school Sunday, but they'll go off and do something else. And so that's a lie. Yeah. And they're saying to themselves, well, they're going to behave like that, so why should I become,
why should I be any different?
Why should I be any different? Why should I go in church and lie about it and then go back out on Monday morning and do something different?
Yeah.
And so I think if they would have shown it. Yeah. Instead of trying to speak it, you know, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. No, show me how to do that. Love on me. Yeah. Hold my hand. Show me how to do this. And when tough decisions are made, don't run to alcohol and don't run to that other woman or run to fill in the blank, whatever that may be. Yeah. Don't do that. Yeah. Stand there and face your fears, you know, or whatever that decision is. Face it. Yeah. You know, Jacob had to face that out on the river.
Yeah, that's a good.
He had to get muddy in the river. You know, he was on the riverbank. You know, and he couldn't. And the name of that river was Jabbok. Just so you'll know. And the Jabbok, in the word in Hebrew, means to wrestle. And there he was. And he had sent all his family over to the other side because he was worried his big old brother was fixing to come clean his clock, you know.
Yeah.
But he had to stand and take that on the river.
Yeah.
And I say that because they're in our life, mine, your life, and the audience that's listening, there are just sometimes you got to stand out there on that riverbank and you got to wrestle with God and you got to get it right. And I think if my parents would have done that,
it would have gone a different direction.
It would have gone a different direction. Even for my sisters. I mean, they're all gone. They're all out there somewhere, you know.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so you don't keep in touch?
Some. I've got one that I keep up with, or a couple of, just very little, you know.
Right. Here and there.
Yeah, but it's not, you know, there's no Thanksgivings, there's no Christmas, there's no family.
Yeah.
You know, there's just none of that.
Yeah, I mean,
they chose the other path. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
They chose the path that they saw.
Yeah.
And
well, I think practically what that looks like to start living it, because a lot of people are like, I think so many people grew up not seeing someone live it out that they're just like, I want to live it out, maybe but I don't know how. And one thing that I've told people is like, get another guy. If you're a man, get another man to speak into your life that you trust, that you know is on that path. Like me going to you,
right.
Whenever I have something that I'm like really wrestling with, I'll call you up.
And still to this day, just so your listeners know, to this day, you'll still call me.
Oh, yeah.
You call me and say,
that's what I'm saying.
How do we do this?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, have you gone through something like this? Like, what's this been like? What do you think I should do here? You, Bud, Brody Walker, I mean, Jim Tom Butler. These are the people that are on my, speed dial.
Right.
And so I think that's the thing. And then if you're with your marriage, I think one thing that I've learned over the years, like get other couples to speak into your marriage.
Correct.
And let them in.
Yeah.
Don't
let them in.
Let them in.
Yeah.
Completely. Don't let like the good, the bad, the ugly, let them in.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to start, and let them speak into it so that things start to change.
You need to be careful with that couple. Because what happens inside those four walls, and you stay inside those four walls,
Sure.
it doesn't need to go on
There's got to be trust.
It's got to be a huge amount of trust there.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost like pastor confidentiality.
Yeah.
You just about got to hold, you've got to, that's sacred.
Yeah,
that's sacred ground, man.
Absolutely.
And so you got to respect that. And
like our small group that we've got about like 4 or 5 other couples that in each of us, one of us in the couples is part of the worship ministry. So we were like, we can't meet on Sunday mornings for Sunday school or anything. So like, let's just get together Sunday night, like all of us. And so we've been meeting for the last couple of years, and we're going through Reengage right now.
Oh yeah.
Great marriage ministry. And like, so Reengage is from the Watermark Church. If anybody wants to look it up. But like there's a couple leading our group through that. And then we've already been in each other's lives, but it's really gotten us closer, and talking about some issues, and it's been great. So going through kind of the rest of life, going through teenage years on into getting to 20, what was that like? Were you pretty rebellious? Were you pretty...
I was focused.
Really?
I knew exactly where I was going.
Really?
I figured out where I was going and how I was going to get there.
Where was that?
For the audience doesn't know, I've always moved dirt for a living.
Yeah,
I'm a contractor.
Yep.
And so I knew early on.
Really?
Yeah, I knew very early on that was my gift, and I never could play baseball because they'd always stick me out in right field.
You were playing with the dirt?
I was playing with the dirt.
Brody does it all the time, man. We're going through T-ball right now. And
I'd sit out there on the right field, and I'd come in the dugout, and the coach would go, "Son, what are you doing out there?" And I said, "I'm digging a hole." He said, "What for?" I said, "I'm bored. Got nothing to do."
Yeah.
And I'd go back out the next day and come back and say, "What'd you do then?" I said, "I put that dirt back in the hole."
So you're like, I'm just going to do that for a living.
I did it for a living. And, so that was so here I am. I still today.
Yeah.
You know, and
Got your
that
own
was a
business
gift
and
of mine,
everything.
and I understood it. And so
Yeah.
early on, and I fought college. My parents made me go.
Oh, really?
Oh, I hated it. I hated every minute.
Really?
I hated every minute.
That's fascinating.
I was not college material.
Well,
Not
okay, so
at
that's
all.
fascinating because you were very like stern about like you're going to college and you're getting an education.
Yeah. They
and-
forced me to go 2 years.
Yeah.
That was the deal. I was the first child. Understand? I was the first child.
Oh, okay.
And so
Yeah.
they forced me to go 2 years, and all the time I'm screaming at them. No.
Really?
No.
I look forward to going to college.
I know you did. Yeah, it was good for you.
But I failed my first semester with a 1.4 GPA. I failed my computer science courses, which is ironic now.
Yeah, I know.
Right? And college though was good, but I was a very average student. Was that your experience?
No.
Or were you
I was 1.2.
you were you were like
Oh, I was done. I
yeah.
was done.
yeah, interesting.
I could not. I hated every minute of it. I hated going to class. I
Yeah.
hated, I didn't. I was not. No, I was no frat parties, no nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. I had one thing focused.
Didn't really get in the community of it or anything.
Zero. No community.
Did you room with different guys or
No.
anything? Like
had a single room by myself.
really? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fascinating.
Of course, I had guys in my dorm, and we all
hung out.
But that's it. I was not. I just wasn't. I just couldn't. And so the day my last year's up, I was out.
So you went 2 years, but did you get a degree?
No.
Any
No.
associate's degree or
Zero.
anything?
No.
Gotcha.
Zero. I couldn't.
What did you do going into that?
What did I do?
From coming out of college?
Coming out of college?
Yeah.
I knew right off the bat that I was going to be some kind of a contractor or some kind of operator. I knew that in the beginning, so I was just waiting to do my time.
So did you? So here's in today, the education is so important.
Yeah.
I think we start with that foundational truth because education does provide opportunities,
Right.
And it starts to build that muscle for a skill set.
Right.
I don't think that traditional education is actually necessary for every career path.
No.
And web development and the data science, data analytics, I don't think, data analytics and web development, I don't think that it's required. I think maybe getting an associate's degree to get kind of a well-roundedness of like the basics of,
Right.
but I think a 4-year degree, depending on what you want to do, because if you're a doctor or a surgeon, obviously, you want them to have that.
You, dude, if you're gonna cut on me,
exactly.
I want you to know everything
the
upside
best
down.
of,
Yeah. But to go be a dirt man and go
do a website,
do a
things
website,
like that.
or go be a plumber, or go be a carpenter, or go be something like. Oh no.
Or I was talking to my father-in-law, who's a contractor, builds houses.
Yeah.
And he was saying like we can't even find. There's like maybe 1 or 2 bricklayers around town.
Yeah.
And like they can set their prices and do what they want, honestly, because who else is going to do it?
Yeah.
There's a lot. It seems that like, I think kind of going back to what other skill sets do people have if their jobs get taken? I think there's these technical trades that a lot of people could move into.
Yeah. And the field's wide open to create your own business.
Yeah.
I mean, create your own.
And it's easy nowadays, too.
And you just go out there and now to be a bricklayer, you're going to have to apprentice under somebody to understand the trade.
Yeah.
But once you understand the trade and once you get it a little bit out under your belt, there's no reason why we live in America, dude. We live in the greatest country in the world.
Yeah.
You can go and be whatever.
Yeah.
Get up off the couch.
Yeah. Well, that's what building websites. I mean, like the program that I work for, you go through our program, we help you move into that career. The career coach, after you graduate, walks with you from the time that you're interviewing and all that to the time that you like get the job.
Right.
And so it's like, there's definitely like, you want to do that apprenticeship or that form of education, but like, I don't think the traditional college thing is something that's necessary for everybody.
No, not to do my best to try to teach kids now. I did a little stat here not too long ago because I was teaching and
keep talking. I'm going to check this computer. You keep talking.
The average graduate of high school, the average pay for a graduate high school, just straight out of high school, is $25,000 a year.
Really?
That's average.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and the average pay for a college grad, coming out of college with a $50,000 debt, Okay.
Yeah.
Some of them don't have debt.
Oh,
some
yeah.
of them do. You know,
I can attest to that.
But $50,000. Let's say you got a $50,000 debt. Your average pay is $29,000 a year. That's $4,000 more, and you spent.
When you do the math on that,
you're in $50,000 in debt.
Yeah.
So let me let you know a trade secret here, bro. Not everybody needs to go to college.
Yeah.
And in today's society, and how many kids we have at home still eating at mama's table because they can't get a job. If they'd got a skill set or a trade, they could be out there because it's unbelievable right now what you can do.
Absolutely. And I think the debt thing, something's got to change. It's not sustainable.
And who are you going to do? We're going to spend the next 30 years paying that 6% off?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what we're doing right now. I mean, she had her education paid for her undergrad, but then the doctorate degree, I mean, we had to take a loan for that. We just did. And then my last year, we had to take a loan out, but it's still, I mean, $140,000 that we're going to be paying for who knows how long. You know what I mean?
Hurry up, son.
I know. Well, that's the thing. It's like that gets into whole debt management.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. That's another world. That's another deal.
But I want to go back to I'm texting the kids want to come see you before you head out, so they're going to come by a little bit later.
Good. Yeah.
So I'm curious though, did you have a plan when you walked out of college and you were like, here's my business plan, here's my
No.
Okay.
No. Had no business.
You just kind of
winging
it, went for it. Did you find an apprentice, somebody?
Yeah, I went to work driving a truck for somebody.
Gotcha.
A dump truck for somebody.
Yeah.
I grew up around trucks all my life. With my daddy's business, he was gas and oil business. So I grew up in that world, not in the dirt world, but I grew up in the heavy, the trucks and the fixing flats and tires and mechanics. I had a grandfather that was master mechanic, so I inherited his skill set, so that helped out. And then I went to work driving a truck for a gentleman, and then one of the operators didn't show up one day to load us.
Oh, yeah?
Man, I said, I believe I can do that.
Yeah? So that's how you got the first opportunity?
I was 19, 20.
Yeah.
I said, yeah. I said, I think I can do that. I can run that traco. He goes, you think it? I said, yeah, give me a few minutes.
Yeah.
I stepped up in there and looked around like this. I looked around like, ooh, what is all this?
It's kind of overwhelming when you get up in those things.
Keep in mind now, buddy, this was back in the 80s. It ain't nothing like it is today. I mean, it was pretty simple back then. It's just simple mechanics then.
Oh, yeah.
But still, you had all these levers, and I'm going, what is all this? But anyway, in about 15 minutes, I was loading trucks.
Yeah.
And I went, I could do this.
This is it.
This is it.
Yeah.
It's my calling.
That's what you find the passion, right?
Yeah.
You confirm.
And you can't wait to go back to it.
Yeah.
You cannot.
It keeps you up at night, wakes you up in the morning.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't wait to get back out there the next morning.
Yeah.
Okay. How can I and always be thinking, how can I make this better?
How can I get better?
How can I get better?
What can I do to improve?
I had a gentleman back years ago when I started in business, and of course, he's my age, and now of course I was in my 20s, and he was one of my mentors, and he told me, he said, son, he said, you always need to envision yourself where you're going to be tonight. And you think about
where you're going to be tonight?
Tonight, on your job process. Where are you going to be? What is your finished product going to look like tonight?
When you step out,
what is it going to look like tonight?
Yeah.
And then you'll get to where you start looking a week out, 3 weeks out, 6 months out. Then you're 10 years out, and then and then when you don't make that goal that first night, you walk in and ask yourself, how come I didn't make it?
Yeah.
And you sit down and you go, this is how come, because this didn't work right, or this didn't happen today. And so tomorrow you correct that so you can make that the next time. That's
something that I've learned really well recently with the job that I'm doing. So the formal title of what I'm doing now is product management. I actually, get this, I've not coded anything in 7 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't think that would ever happen, but I'm in product management where I'm working with the designers, engineers, and people to get to that larger goal.
Yeah, but see, you focus, and you got to know how.
You got to be able to do that.
You got to look in the future, and you got to say where we're going to be.
That's the muscle I'm building a lot over this last year. And one of the things that the guy that's mentoring me for the last year, who's just an incredible product manager, and I've had just the best luck having him teach me, is retroactively looking back and saying, okay, this didn't get the outcome we want. Let's step through each step and and whenever we get to a step, let's go, is there something I could have done and pivoted here that would have given me a better outcome? And that mental training is, I think, something that builds the muscle faster.
Correct.
And will build that skill in you faster. Right. I've noticed that a lot. So that makes sense, what you're saying there. So you get in your 20s. Yep. When did you and Janetta meet? About what age did y'all meet? Was that
she was in college and I was in college, and
okay, so this is around the same time then that you're hanging out with Janetta. And dating life, did you date much? And
some. In high school I did. I had a few girlfriends, not many, but I had a few.
I was a serial dater. I mean, like, I mean, like, I don't think I was almost ever single for very long.
I don't know.
And I think that probably goes back to some of the, like, family things back in my past.
That was the past coming out.
But, like, I had a kind of a different experience. I mean, I didn't date in high school at all because I was a big dork.
Yeah.
And
you were kind of backward. You had 2 left feet.
Yeah, it was awkward.
Yeah, it was.
But in college, I kind of found my crew. You know what I mean?
And you kind of found your niche.
Yeah. And started, like, leading worship more and everything else in college. And originally, that was my career path. That was what I was, training and doing skilling in. And so, dating like that, I don't think, though, was healthy. I should have come to grips and been like, why am I doing this? I think I would have not gone into a number of relationships.
But you see, you had to learn that.
Yeah. And it's difficult, too, when you're young, right? Like, because it's like, you're still, you're 20. And so you're invincible, and you're just like...
You're bulletproof, I call it.
Yeah. But yeah, so you're meeting, you're hanging out around the same time then with Janetta. Yeah. How long did y'all date?
We dated nearly 4 years before we got married.
Really?
Oh,
wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, we met and married in 9 months, Courtney and I.
Yeah, I know. Well, that was quick. About 3.5 years, something like that. Yeah. We dated, and on again, off again, and
oh, really? Yeah,
we both scared to death getting married. We didn't, either one of us, because we both come from 2 dysfunctional families, and we didn't want no part of that.
Yeah. That's actually what I found. It was a good model of what I didn't want to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the same for us.
Yeah.
Same. We knew what we didn't want to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, we finally got married. And
did you? So y'all were dating for 4 years.
Yeah.
Did you have a good sense of who Janetta was by the time y'all got married?
No.
Yeah. I
had an idea, but not. Yeah. It wasn't. I wish, looking back now, see, back when we got married years ago, there was no such thing as premarital counseling, hardly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was some, but nobody hardly did it.
Not like an intention. Well, were there like marriage conferences? And like, now we have marriage conferences. We have all these other things.
If there was, I sure didn't know about it because we were both work-driven, focused people, and
sure.
And so, she had her profession, I had mine, and here we went, and young and dumb, and
I mean, I thought maybe the more years that Courtney and I are married, the more I realized how much I didn't know about Courtney, and I wondered if that was just like we married 9 months thing.
We've been married 40 now.
40 years.
Yeah, just right at 40.
Nice. Congratulations.
Married
on
40, but I say 39. We'll be 40 this November.
40 this November.
And
we'll be 10 years this December.
Good for you.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I mean,
time passes fast, but there's still stuff today
that you learn about.
Oh yeah.
That's what I think I find that exciting. And recently, I think we talked about this, maybe I talked about this a little bit with you on the phone, is that there have been these times over the last 9 years where I feel like I'm plateauing, and Courtney and I are like, oh, we're good, but it's just kind of been plateauing. And one of the things, so January of last year, we had the miscarriage with Jet, and that either had the opportunity to pull us apart or to bring us together.
That's right.
And I think I actually like met you in person, or we talked on the phone, and you were just like, you lead in this situation. You lead towards God in this situation. Lean into Him and take care of her. Because it obviously was harder for her,
right?
And affected me, but not as much as it did.
She's the mother.
Exactly.
That's why.
Exactly. And so, like, over this last year, we've been I mean, it's just like next level. And so I'm like, that's great. Does that continue on through the decades that you're married, that you're like there's just something that y'all just go closer and you learn about each other more and more? Because I hope so, because it would be boring if it was just plateauing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
You'll have ups and downs.
Yeah.
It won't all be that mountaintop like what you're experiencing now, because you came off that. But you learn together as you go through this. You'll just kind of, there'll be these high moments, and then there'll be moments that you kind of flatten out and you go, really, really. But it's just pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just pretty
gets better.
It's good. Yeah.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're kind of seasoned now,
Yeah, yeah. You're in a definitely an interesting phase of life.
Yeah, we are.
We are moving into an interesting phase.
Oh yeah.
It's like a whole new chapter.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, there's definitely lows. I mean, like honestly, the first first couple of years was really rough, especially that first year for me, because I was used to going with Buds and David and Caleb, and we were just tearing it up and everything else. And then I remember Courtney being like, "Are you ever gonna stay home at night and just like hang out with me?" And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even think about that, honestly." Like, it was this whole shift.
See, Bud's learning that now.
Yeah. Our friend Bud, who's 38, 39, 39, and he just got married this year. Yeah, he and I talk on the phone quite a bit.
Never mind, I don't mean you get sidetracked.
No. I'm texting Courtney about bringing the kids here in a minute. Okay. But yeah, he and I have been talking, and he's like, I don't get why. Like, and we'll just get going and talking about
that. That boy's lived by himself for 39 years.
Yeah, so he's done whatever, whenever.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been interesting.
And of course, then he married this young girl.
Yeah.
And she's 10 years younger than him.
And he's going into fatherhood, too.
Oh, yeah.
He's not just, and that's doing him a lot of good. I want to...
I believe...
He is being sharpened, and he is, sometimes I think he's just like, it's hurting him. But I remember that. I remember that, like, I found out how prideful I was.
That's a guy thing.
Yeah.
That's a guy thing.
Yeah. And it like took a lot of learnings and a lot of you on the phone being like, yeah, that's you being dumb. You need to reevaluate that. You're thinking selfishly, like, people speaking into my life, people speaking into our marriage. And it's definitely an experience. So y'all get married, and you've pretty much just had this same business, your own business from the whole time. What did Janetta do? I didn't know that she had her own career.
She when we first got married, she was a physical therapist.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's physical.
Because Courtney's a physical therapist.
Yeah.
At home.
Well, see, all she liked, passing her state board. That's all she liked.
Really?
Oh, she had everything down, clinicals.
Clinicals and everything.
Yeah. All she liked was her state board.
What changed? What was the change?
She got tired of studying.
Yeah.
Basically, what it amounted to, and she went, "Nah, I ain't doing that." So she changed her major and she went to special ed.
Oh,
so
okay.
She likes
kids. Went to education.
Children's her gift.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. If you know Janetta for 5 minutes, you know where her heart is.
She's a child whisperer. We call her. She just kids and her.
Anyone and everyone. It's just like it's crazy the talent she has working with.
But
kids.
that's what she was, and then of course I bought her first dump truck back in 1982 for Mother's Day.
No, you didn't.
I did, dude.
So then she. So I guess did she teach? She taught in like schools and things like that.
She taught in Searcy High.
Really?
Yeah. When we first got married, sure did.
So when she stopped teaching?
When I drug her to Florida, we bought our first truck. We bought our first truck. Yeah, together. We bought our first big rig together, and I went to Florida, and then we got married. She came on down there and left her school teaching job there in Searcy, and got out of her contract and came on down there, and that started it all.
What caused? So there wasn't anything then that caused that. Like, was she looking to get out of teaching and everything?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh no. Just that we bought our first truck together, and I went down there to work the winter. Because dump truck. You work down there all the time, and so that's where we ended up going. And so she got out of her contract, and they let her out, and so here we went.
Gotcha. Yeah. So then you're. What did you think? What did you find as the challenges in the first few years of marriage for you? thinking through those, I mean, it's been a while, but I'm sure you can recall.
Yeah, I got to dust cobwebs off.
Some of the, you know? But like, what were your challenges in the first few years that you're like, if I could do that over again, I probably would have said this, or like my attitude would have been this.
Oh yeah, see, I had the guy attitude.
Yeah,
bad guy.
Were you a believer at this point? Let me
I was raised in the church. You know,
Okay.
That's no excuse. I am way more a believer today than I was then.
Sure.
Because I came to a grace-saving moment with Jesus later on after one of our children died, and that really lined me up. Gotcha. I guess you might say.
Yeah.
But I knew who Jesus was. I knew all that early on.
Right.
My wife was way more educated at it than me, 'cause she grew up in a Southern Baptist church, and so she knew all those Bible verses. She knew her Bible back and forth. You know,
Yeah.
me, oh no, I didn't. You
Yeah.
know, I barely knew who Moses was. You know, so anyway, it was a real deal. But if there's some. I would have been not so much focused on myself. I was very, very driven, very business minded, very focused on. I got to get to point A today, point B, C, D. Why did I get there? You know, and there was just a lot of long days. You know, that shouldn't have been.
I was gonna say, is that kind of like the workaholic type of mentality?
It is. Yeah. And then if there was any time. Spare time. Well, I ran off with the guys, went hunting, fishing. That was a big sport for me, and so I shouldn't have done as much of that as I did.
Yeah,
I look back on that, and that's one of the things that I would have kept to a minimal.
Yeah,
you know, I still like that. Still, I don't today. I was
gonna say, I don't think I've ever seen you go hunting.
Very rare. Fishing. I've got all these guns at home, and you know, and I'm a shooter by trade. I love to shoot. But I just kind of, you know, it's just kind of faded away because I just, but different calling
priorities.
On my priorities and different calling on my life now. Yeah. And so back then I wished, if I had to go back and do it over again, I would do that. That one thing I would do over again. Yeah. I would limit that. Yeah. I shouldn't have left her at home with the kids, by herself as much as I did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That like, workaholic thing. I mean, I went through that, and you remember when I was working at Aristotle, that was rampant to the point that it made me physically ill. Yeah. And they thought I had early onset Parkinson's because of my grandmother's background.
But all it was you just.
And I like, again, you speaking into my life, you were like, you need to calm down. Mm-hmm. You need to focus on your family and
turn the switch off.
Priorities right.
Turn the switch off.
It's like you got God first, but your family's not second, and that's where they should be. Mm-hmm. And I'm very glad to have people in my life that spoke that so early on, because there were a couple of years of that. And now with working at Thinkful and things like that, I put these boundaries in place. Right. Especially I knew working at home, I would need this. Yeah. Now, that's to say, I can't turn it off. You know my brain. You know how I think. It doesn't turn off, and I'm sure like you probably think about that as well. But you get better at setting boundaries of like, I'm not going to look, for me, I'm not going to look at the computer screen to see what messages are at work or my phone. Right. I've got these things in place so that I don't see those. And Thinkful is very good about that, like promoting family in that way. But you got to be intentional in that. Yeah. And that's my biggest struggle that I struggle with is keeping family second, because I could very easily switch into that mode of just working all the time.
But as a guy, that's our DNA.
I think so. Yeah.
You know, we're task oriented.
Yeah. There's so many guys talk about that.
But I tell guys today, go home.
Yeah. Be home.
Be home. Yeah. I tell guys today, you know what? That job's not going anywhere. Yeah. It'll be there in the morning. Yeah. Yeah, but I said, no, you don't. Yeah. Now one day you'll wake up and you'll go, that old man was right. Yeah. And you'll look back on it and you'll go, he was right. It doesn't matter. You know, it's just a job. It's like
when you're young, you're wanting to prove your worth.
That's right.
I think that's the biggest thing.
That's
like,
a big deal.
To your employer, you want to be like, I should be in the running for that promotion.
And see, we were starting our business.
Yeah.
And so it's hard.
Sink or swim.
It's sink or swim. Yeah. You know, and so anyway, it's
So first few years of marriage, just focusing. I think it's crucial too. I could have done a lot of things better had I focused on my marriage in the first few years more than focusing on my work or video games or hanging out with the buds. And I think we would have been at a place even better. Not to say like that I don't like the place we are now, though. Too.
Right.
I think I've learned it's the things that made me learn that.
Well, it helps you learn that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because especially if you got the knowledge to be able to look at the hindsight and go, "Oh, that didn't work well.
Yeah,
let's don't do that again."
Yeah, exactly. So you're married. How far into marriage was Jan? Jan, your oldest?
Well, Brand, just like we were married in November, and she was on her way in January.
Oh yeah,
we didn't waste no time.
It didn't waste no time,
dude. We did like Sears and Roebuck. You could order them out of that catalog. They were coming.
Yeah,
your generation, the audience, probably, they don't know what Sears and Roebuck.
I'm probably the last year. Like that's the cutoff because I remember when it got discontinued.
Yeah,
but it used to be you would get this catalog in the mail.
Yeah, I know.
And for kids, that's like you sat down and you circled.
Hey, that was Christmas.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you circled.
But that was how you did. You didn't have Amazon to be like, here's all my Amazon links of the things I want. No. This was Amazon.
That was about that thick.
It was, boy.
And you'd go straight to the toys, man. And you go. And you'd circle them, but that,
and you get it in the mail every year.
But dude, you could have kids just like order from Sears and Roebuck, man.
Yeah,
they were coming.
So you had Jan.
Yeah.
In Jan, Jan's an awesome person. So much like you, and driven and kind of business oriented. Yeah. And I want to talk about what it's like to raise someone like Jan, because I think I have a Jan on my hands with Sadie, who's two. She is very opinionated for a 2-year-old, and she can be manipulative and get Brody to do whatever she needs him to do to accomplish a task that she wants, because she may not be tall enough or whatever else. Just like that. I mean, he's kind of like a golden retriever, and like he just wants to please you and everything. And she's like, she uses that to her advantage, right?
Yeah.
And then, but she's very driven. I can already tell. And just like, this is how we're gonna do it. And this is like, how do you raise a daughter, especially that's like that?
You nurture her along once again with her gifts.
Yeah.
And you learn how to steer it, and you learn how to guide it. Are you going to make the right decisions every day? No.
Yeah.
But you'll learn also at the same time while you're doing that. And what you'll do is you'll figure out what she's really going to be good at. And that's what you will focus her attention upon.
Yeah.
And kind of expand on that. And then, things will come up from that. But that's, with raising Jan, that's what, she was driven.
Yeah.
Everything she did, And so what we did was we just kind of took it and worked with it, and tried to help it, nurture it along, and make it create.
So I mean, we say Sadie's going to be a leader for sure.
You can tell who's going. You can tell who's going to be a leader.
Now, whether that's leader of a prison gang or leader of a company, we're not quite sure yet.
I don't know.
Right, but it's like speaking life. I guess that goes back to speaking life.
Yeah, speak life.
And like speaking that truth. What type of discipline worked well, though? Was there a certain type of way of working with her?
We didn't have to discipline
very much.
Really? Just a few times that I can remember, and they wasn't no big issue or nothing like that. It was just small stuff. But discipline was not a big issue for her.
Okay, so she was pretty much listened very well.
Yeah, she listened, and she would go along. Now later in life, when she got up around 15, 16, we got to really, of course the boys was calling and
Bud, one of them, the guy we talked about earlier.
And so there were some things that we had to draw the line on.
Yeah.
And she'd ask me, she said, Daddy, why? And I said, because. And then, of course, there was always guys that wanted to date her, in high school, because she's good looking. She's like her mama,
Yeah.
She'd knock you out, And so she'd ask me, she said, Daddy, there's some guys who'd like to ask me out. And I go, that ain't happening. She said, I know.
So she didn't date, or I guess you said like, no, we're not going to allow dating.
No, we had these rules in house. If you're going to live at my house and you're going to eat at my table, and I'm going to buy your clothes. These are the rules.
Yeah.
And so,
there's some kids today that would go crazy.
Yeah,
if
they couldn't do that.
Abide by that.
And so we. She asked me one time. She said, "Dave, there's some guys who'd like to ask me out." And I said, "Well, you know the rule."
What was the rule?
The rule was, one of them that we had, is if the guy came in to ask her out or ask her out on a date. Yeah. It had, one of the principal rules was you had to attend church somewhere. Not you didn't have to attend with us, but you had to attend somewhere. And if you didn't attend with us where I could physically see you, you had to bring me a signed note on Monday that pastor had to have a signed note said you was there.
Really?
Yeah. Well, see, a lot of those little high school boys wouldn't do that.
They'd all of a sudden leave, right?
Yeah. And so I said, So that's why she was talking to me. She said, "Daddy, they won't." I said, "You know the rule."
Yeah. And I guess later in life, she probably saw the benefit of that.
She did. Yeah. And it's okay. It's all good. But, back then at 16, you're looking at that, But Jan was very good. She worked hard just like everybody else. She worked for everything she got, and it was she was good to raise. Yeah. She really was.
Yeah. It's interesting.
But now I'm going to tell you daddies and their little girls have a special bond now.
They do, but I also see through Sadie's BS a lot of times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know when she's trying to manipulate Courtney. Courtney can't tell. And I'm like, no, she's crying because she knows you're going to give in. You're going to cave in. And I don't fall, like, I don't give in to those type of things.
Right.
But I'm just like, that's my little girl, man.
Yeah, no. See, I would give in.
Really?
See, sometimes I would give in, and Janetta would hold her feet to the fire.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of reversed in our cases.
Sometimes I'd cave in, and I'd go, "Hey, it'd be okay." And Janetta, no, it ain't okay. Yeah, and she just, So, our roles were reversed some. Yeah, like that. But it's all good. But we're very fortunate. She's married and got two grandkids. Two grandkids, a little 6-year-old and 3-year-old, and my little 3-year-old is a little girl, just like your little girl, and she's like her mama. Yeah. I'm gonna show you a picture here after a while. Because see this.
Oh man, I've got this. Dude. Bit, oh my.
Dude, you're
gorgeous.
You're
just gorgeous.
Drop dead gorgeous. It's just
she loves wearing sunglasses and little Chucks tennis shoes.
Yeah, she's a little girl.
She's fun, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's definitely fun.
Enjoy it while they're young.
And then and Brody is also
they will grow
just as great in such a different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're great in such a, and like he's starting to do T-ball, and so it's getting fun. But he's also interested in like video games and technology. But like we've had to set some things in place of like 1 hour a day, and like you lose that hour if you don't do the right things. And if you go really above and beyond, you might gain 30 minutes extra in that.
Correct.
And back in the day in the 90s, that was I don't think parents knew how to deal with that because video games and computers were all new.
Like I said, they were scared of it. Yeah. It was all new, brand new. The biggest thing we had back there when our kids were kids was Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Oh, yeah. Pac-Man.
This generation might not remember what it was, but that's what we had,
Yep.
But see, our kids didn't, they played a little.
There's actually
but
now,
not much.
There's, when I go on work trips to these big cities, so like at work, it's very natural to go to a bar at the end of the day and just kind of hang out. They have these barcades. And it's all these retro games, pinball machines, everything else.
Oh, really?
And you just go with your buddies and you're playing all these games. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's got Pac-Man. It's got the original, like the Simpsons game that they had, like the original X-Men game. And whoo, boy.
See, pinball was a big thing. Pinball.
They had
pinball
a
machines.
whole room, bigger than this room and that room combined. Pinballs all the way around.
And the pinball machines used to pay out. Did you know that?
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. You'd have a nickel. You'd have a nickel pinball machine.
Oh, a nickel.
You stand up there and put that nickel in and you play that, and it would pay out like a slot machine. If you won so much, and then you'd catch the money down, it'd come out the slot and the bottom just like that.
And you just keep going.
You keep going.
Wow.
That was some of the original pinball machines.
That's nice.
Now, that's what I grew up with.
Yeah, these just take your money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you had Jan.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy came along.
Yeah.
And how old was Jan when Jeremy was born?
She was 3.
3? Okay. So just a few years apart, kind of like our kids. Yeah. And then what was Jeremy like? So we'll talk about Jeremy a little bit more. I've heard you talk about Jeremy when you talk to people and you talk about your story and testimony. I don't think that we've actually had a conversation about Jeremy though. I just kind of know more, I know him and his story and your story from that. But what was Jeremy like growing up?
He was a fun-loving kid.
Yeah.
He loved excitement. He loved adventure. He loved, he was like me. He was my spitting image,
Yeah. Boy, that's how I feel with Brody, man.
There wasn't nothing he wouldn't do.
Yeah.
The kid bought him a go-kart, and what's the first thing he do? He runs it under the low boy.
Oh, no.
And the steering wheel catches it on the edge, and he bangs his old head off of there. And I'm going, son, you're all right. Yeah, Daddy, I'm fine. Push me back at it.
Yeah.
I mean, he ran in the shop one time. He's coming around real fast, and this is back when we could do you could do things with your kids. They don't know that
nowadays.
No. But I mean, he's flying around the shop. I remember just like he had these big double doors opened up, and of course that's where my tools was and truck worked on trucks and everything. He went wheeling in there, and I had one of these big double decker Craftsman toolboxes on wheels, stacked full of tools. Bang! He ran right, and that top box went bong. And I'm going, son, you okay? Yeah, Daddy, I'll be fine. And he's about 3, 4.
Oh man!
But they're
resilient kids.
Oh yeah,
kids are resilient. Man.
And we grew up. They grew up around machines all their lives.
Yeah.
My kids grew up. Around all this stuff, and so they kind of grew up tough to kind of go along with it.
Yeah, knew how to be around that.
Yeah, they knew how to be around it, and he had a softer heart than Jan did.
Did he?
Yeah, Jan. She could be cold, man. She could.
Sadie, man. I know exactly what you mean.
She could be. But Jeremy, he'd have his soft heart,
Yeah.
He kind of took after his mama, a little bit on that heart part.
Yeah.
But he was a good kid. I'd have to discipline him a little just because he was a boy.
Yeah,
Just because.
Just kind of the typical boy.
Typical boy, he's going to try stuff and see what he can get away with,
Yeah.
But all in all, he was just a good kid. A good kid,
Yeah, that's what we
smart,
Yeah.
Teachers all loved him.
Wanted to try new things.
Oh, yeah.
And like, what happens if I do this?
Yeah,
and
I know.
That type
and
of
he
thing.
would do that.
Yeah.
He would do that.
Yeah.
Wasn't a machine out there he couldn't run. They bring me in a new backhoe or a new dozer or something and unloaded off the low boy. He's the first one out in the driveway. He was climbing up on it. Hey, Daddy, let me make this thing run. You know what
Brody does? Brody has this like arrogance about things, even though he like really knows nothing about it. And he starts telling me all these facts about sharks, and he kind of like leans back and he's like, yeah, I pretty much know everything about sharks. And I'm just like, you've never even touched a shark. Like, you've never seen one. And but he's just got this confidence. Oh, yeah, I could do that. I could play that video game.
You see,
Dad.
but he's going to be a leader.
Yeah.
Because he's got that confidence already built in him.
Yeah. It's funny to watch them think that they know everything. Which I'm sure you've thought about many times with me growing up. I was like, it's funny to watch you think you know everything, boy.
Son, you don't know everything.
I know. Well, that's saying now I know I don't know everything, and I'm like, I'm excited to learn things. It's a different approach. So tell me about. So Jeremy passed.
Yeah.
And
at the age of 8.
Okay. Walk me through that situation that day, really, I guess, and talking about how it happened and how you learned about it and things like that.
First off, you don't ever wake up one morning and think your child is fixing to leave you permanently. You don't ever wake up thinking that. Never. And of all days, it was on Sunday afternoon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is on Sunday. And we always had a church hayride out at our place for the preschool department, because Jen had taught preschool all these years, and so he was a little older than the preschool department. And that day when we was home after church, We was home after church, you know, and had lunch and everything. And one of my buddies had called me and he said, hey, let's go deer hunting today. And I said, yeah, let's go. So we asked the wives. He asked his wife, you know, and I asked Jeanette. I said, hey, you good with that? Yeah, y'all go ahead and go. We got this, you know. Got all these other parents coming, you know.
Plenty of people to cover it.
You know, and we've done it for years. Same old, you know. So I go all the time. I'm out there, and keep in mind we hook this trailer up to a riding lawnmower, 12 horsepower John Deere riding lawnmower. I call it bulletproof. You wouldn't think there'd ever be an accident happen on something like that.
Yeah.
But all the time I was hooking that trailer up, something inside of me was going, this ain't right. This ain't right. Of course, I realize that voice now, but then I didn't realize that voice. And so the guy in me, that determination, you know, I finally got it all hooked up and got it all ready. And
well, because you were still kind of an infant believer, is what you were saying earlier.
You know, I said, we was raised in church, second pew on Sunday morning, you know, and that's all we knew, you know, and I knew who Jesus was and knew there was God, knew of God, but I didn't have that personal relationship like I've got today.
Yeah. And,
you know, Jay and I left, the kids all playing, you know, doing all what we're doing, and Janetta was driving the lawnmower, you're pulling around there and back, and she had turned around there, and Ryan, his little buddy, was there that day, and they were jumping on and off the trailer, you know, just really
like a
low trailer. And Janetta turned around there and she said, Jeremy, y'all quit jumping on and off the trailer now. You get on or off. And so they got on, and when they got on, and then the next thing she knew, she felt something bump out there in the field, just like that. You know, there ain't a rock in our field anywhere. And she looked back, and so when she looked back, she knew exactly what had happened. And the only thing we can figure out, that Ryan, they had kind of set up on the side of that trailer Indian style. They kind of crossed their legs, and Jeremy's already tall for his age. He's 8, and he's a lanky boy, you know. And we felt like maybe Ryan jumped off the trailer, you know, and when he did, he got him by the collar of the shirt or the T-shirt and pulled on him. Well, when he pulled on him, he couldn't unwrap fast enough, and he just went down. His head went head first right on the trailer, and the trailer ran over his head, and so then that started a chain of events for that day. And
so I actually want to press in a little bit, because there are definitely men that have felt this loss before. There's men out there that have done that. And I'm curious, one, how did you find out? You were deer hunting.
Yeah.
There weren't cell phones.
No, we didn't have cell phones back then. And we're out there, and we're in this 2,500 acre patch of woods, timber, on White River. And I'm hanging on the side of a tree. You know, we're bow hunting Sunday afternoon. And I hear this three-wheeler coming. And I could hear it coming through the woods. And I'm going, what is that? And we're the only ones here.
Yeah.
This is private land. And I'm listening to it come through the woods, and I'm going, what is that? And this guy, older gentleman, but in his 70s, haven't seen him again to this day, don't have a clue who he is.
Really?
Jay says it was an uncle from so-and-so and so-and-so, but I don't know.
Well, like this is the same house you're in now, right? Like, we're living in like, you know, the people.
Yeah,
around
no,
there,
but this was
too.
Jay. We were down in Desark on White River.
Oh, okay.
We were somewhere. We'd gone. So Jay and I had gone somewhere to deer hunt, you know. And so this guy rides up. He has no idea where I'm at. He has no idea where Jay's at. He rides up and says, "Are you Sid Langley?" And I go, "Yeah. How do you want?" And I'm, you know, right there within shouting distance of the tree.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just like that. I go, "Yeah." And he said, "You need to come down right now. There's been an accident at your house." And I went, "Really?" And so I just kind of hollered across the woods. But bow hunting, you can hunt close to you guys. And so we wasn't very far apart. And I hollered at Jay, and Jay come over there, and I said, and this guy proceeds to tell, because he was supposed to be in some kind of kin to Jay at the time, but I've never seen this guy again since then. Never seen him before. Never nothing.
That's crazy.
It was crazy. That was a crazy day. And so we get in the truck, and Jay headed home, and I'm thinking, one of the kids had an accident at the house, you know, or something. Somebody broke an arm,
going to the hospital,
going to the hospital, blah blah. You know, so that's a guy.
Yeah,
that's a guy thinking. Jay, at this point, this was early enough that he had a cell phone in his truck.
Oh, really?
One of the old bag phones.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember
yeah.
them or not, but he had an old bag phone. And so he's talking to his wife on the phone. And the longer he talks, the faster he drives. And I mean, we're lighting the road up between Des Arc and Searcy now.
Did he tell you what was going on?
No, he wouldn't tell me. He said there's been a bad accident. I said, what? I said, was it just somebody break an arm or a leg or something? He said, no, it's a little worse than that. And then we pulled up to the hospital. We didn't even go to my house. We pulled up to the hospital at White County Hospital.
Yeah.
You know? And all these people are standing outside. I mean, there's just hundreds of people standing outside the ER, outside. And Jan breaks through the crowd and runs out there and meets me at the truck. And when I get out of that truck, and she said, Daddy, you're too late. Jeremy has died. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. She said, no, I'm not.
What was that feeling like?
That was not good.
Yeah.
That was not good. I do not wish that feeling on anybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is to know that 3 hours ago everything was fine, and all of a sudden your life's upside down. In the bat of an eye, it's upside down.
I imagine as an infant believer that it would be hard not to blame God almost in that. Was that?
I never did that.
Never?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No, I did not. That's one thing that
Interesting.
Jeanette and I, neither one did. We did not blame God for that.
Yeah.
I may have been a strong-willed person, and I had my directions and everything, but I knew better than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was no reason for me to blame God.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
Did I replay the story back and back and back and back and replay?
Yeah.
Yes, a lot.
Yeah.
But never once did I stand up and shake my fist or God, why, or none of that.
Yeah.
Now, I had a lot of people asking me over the course of weeks and days that we can't believe blah, blah, blah. We can't believe you just had the perfect family, you know, to a good boy and girl, you know, and successful business and, you know, going to church. And then how does this happen to you?
Yeah.
I got that a lot.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, I can't even think about what, like, I can't imagine what Janetta also must have been feeling in this time as well, being the person driving. Right.
Mm-hmm. And she's got her own story for that day.
Yeah, exactly.
It's different than mine.
Well, and so continuing in your story, was there ever a part of you that blamed her? Or like
no,
and like obviously you don't now. I know that part, but there was never a part even initially that you knew
better than that.
It was more of a direct like you were like, this has just happened, like this just occurred.
Never once,
unfortunate events.
Never once did either one of us what I call stand up and point the finger at the other one.
Yeah,
never once did we do that.
Yeah, trying to imagine myself, I think there would have been like maybe an initial, like in my own selfishness almost, because I know how selfish I can be, of just like trying to blame someone almost.
That's human characteristic.
Yeah.
To blame someone.
Yeah.
If anything at all, I'd blame myself.
Really?
Because after I replayed it, there was something inside my body going, no, this trailer's not hooking up.
When you're hooking up the trailer.
No, this is not right. No, this is not easy. So if there's anybody to blame, I was beating myself up.
Yeah.
I was pointing myself up beating myself up more than anything.
So talk to me about how the feelings over that first couple of months and within that first year, what was the process for grieving? Like what was the grieving process for losing your son? Like,
each person's process is different.
Yeah.
Yours will be different than mine. Janelle's is different than mine. I was very fortunate. And when I say very fortunate, I had a gentleman that I will always be indebted to. That came alongside me. He was my next door neighbor, a God-fearing man, and I will always be indebted to him for where I'm at today, just because he had the fortitude. He knew how to minister to me, and he came over there after the funeral. Of course, everything's a whirlwind.
That first week,
it's a whirlwind. And, we got big jobs going on.
Yeah.
I got 31 men working.
Yeah.
We got all kinds of dozers. I mean, we just got everything going on.
Well, I imagine this type of event stops everything.
It stopped it all. It stopped the town. It stops the city of Searcy. There was hundreds and hundreds of people come through our house. The day of the funeral, there was in the thousands that showed up.
Wow.
They were lined up outside the street. They were done when we pulled up. When they pulled up, and I'll never forget that day when we pulled up to go into the church. They were lined up out. You know where the church is sitting there on the main street there. They were lined up. They were outside those back doors or front doors there on Main Street, and they turned and went south for one solid block down toward the red light down there.
Yeah.
And they were trying to get in the church. They never got in. Some of those folks never got in.
That was the line waiting.
The line waiting to get in, and it was already full inside. Then it was massive.
Packed.
And it was a day, man. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
It was a day that we'll never forget.
Yeah. What? So like the first year, going through that first year with each other.
It wasn't good.
Was it not?
No. Henry helped me get through a lot. That's that gentleman I said. After the funeral, he came over and he said, I'm going to be right here. I won't say a word unless you ask. But for every day until you get ready to go back to work or until you get ready to go do whatever you need to do, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to be with you every waking moment of the day. Yeah. And I may or may not say anything, and you may or may not say anything back. But he was in my mourning booth. I call it. He was there to listen. He wasn't there to speak. He was there to listen. Yeah. And so I would bounce things off of him during the course of a day. And I can remember after 6 or 7 days, a week or so, I'm guessing. I don't remember exactly. Yeah. It was over. He'd got me through that. Now, is it totally over?
You started going back to work.
But I went back to work. Yeah. I got up that one morning. I said, Henry, I'm good. I got to put my boots on. I said, I'm going back to work. Yeah. And life has never been the same since.
Yeah. Over the course of the first year, I mean, not to compare the two events, but the miscarriage that Courtney and I went through, what I've discovered is over the course of the year, there are times that I think about it. I don't vocalize it as much, but I do think about Jet quite a bit, especially at times where, Brody's doing a T-ball game and I'm like, oh, we should have like a 7-month-old right now. Right. Like, there should be a baby there is my thought. But then like for Courtney, I know that it comes up and especially around certain dates that are significant. Right.
The firsts are always hard.
Yeah. And does that continue?
To some degree. Yeah.
Really?
For me, of course, like I said, I can only speak for me. It's different for Janetta.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll see a young man, a little younger than Jan, say like 37-ish or 6, 7, 8 years old, something like that. And I would look at him and I would say, I wonder.
Yeah. Would
he be like this?
What with the family?
Yeah. What with the family? I'll see a redheaded young man got about the same skin tone, and I wonder if that'd be. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's okay.
I do too. I think that's part of it. Okay. I think that's okay, and I think that's part of it, and it's okay to do that with a smile. Yeah. I don't do it with a grievance. I do it with a smile and go, Thank you, Lord. I got to see that today.
Yeah.
So you're talking to me. You're telling me these things, you know, and I see that, and you got to have a lot of faith.
Yeah.
To see that.
Yeah. I mean, there's faith to know that like one day you're gonna see Jeremy.
Oh
again.
yeah, I'm gonna get and a lot of people don't know that. See, we had a child in between Jeremy and Jan.
Oh really?
Yeah, 5 months old.
Oh really?
Yeah, Janetta had a miscarriage. We had a tough situation one night, and Janetta miscarried that night, and so we have 2 children. I call it 2.
Yeah,
we've got 2 in heaven, and they're waiting on us, and I can't wait for them to get me by the hand when hey, Daddy, come look at this, man. Look what I've been doing all this time.
Yeah,
you know?
I know.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
And I'm at any. If it happened on my way home, so be it, buddy. I'm out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm definitely excited about spending eternity just worshiping the King. Yeah. And that's going to be great. But being able to also be there with Jet is going to be wonderful as well. And I think that one of the things that we have family things that like have been painted, and Courtney's youngest sister is an artist, and whenever they write our names, we always have Jet in there. And yeah, I think it's good to always just talk about that. I mean, Brody, it was actually the hardest part for me was telling Brody. He was so excited, man. That's just like, that's the roughest part for me to think about whenever I go back in my mind, is just the disappointment on Brody's face and just him weeping and grieving.
But he's young.
But now he talks. I mean, he's still. Well, every once in a while, I'll be like, I have a brother in heaven, and he goes, I wish I had a brother here. I wish I had a brother here with me, but I know I have one in heaven. And it's like, the kids, man. Sadie's too young to anyway. Yeah. But yeah. So tell me, I just kind of like finishing on a couple of other topics.
Okay.
In business, what have been the things that you've learned? Because one of the premises of this podcast is there are these men of faith that aren't pastors necessarily. They're men that are business owners. They're men that are, in the workforce and are family men that's their job. But they're men of faith, and you don't have to be a pastor to like share the gospel and to share, and speak truth. What has it been like in business as a believer? How does that change? Like, what's the difference there? And how do you share and minister within business, especially in your instance of consulting and having your own business?
My business is tough. I'm a contractor by trade, so I deal with the rough, the tough. I deal with a lot going on. Some shady stuff that goes underneath the table. Right.
Yep.
We do not do that.
Yeah.
We stand our ground. Yeah. Through the instances and through our what we've been through in life. Yeah. It's made us who we are today. Yeah. But even when we first started our business, Jeanette and I, we made this pact. We will always lay our head down at night, and we will not have to worry about who's knocking on the door. Yeah. We will not have to worry about who's calling. Yeah. Who I need a favor because I've done you a favor. Right. No, we're not that. So we've stayed clear of all of that. We stood by our principles. We've stood by godly guidelines. Yeah. We've done our best to stay by that. Have we been perfect? No. But that's been our focus. Yeah. The whole time. And in any given day, down there on my shop floor down there, or on the job, you're going to hear about Jesus now. Oh yeah, you know that. Oh, you don't go to the property without like seeing or hearing or yeah. And somebody's going to and that's who we are. Yeah, because we understand. Jeanette and I understand life is short. Yeah, very short. Yeah, and how could I go before the Maker one day and say I showed up in your yard to look at your job, and I didn't talk to you a little bit about our Creator. Yeah, yeah. and give you that, whether you know him or not, but just plant that seed to where maybe someday you will know him, you know? But how could I go before the creator of the universe and have that opportunity to speak to that homeowner and didn't?
Right.
I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I feel like I'm lacking in this area a little bit, and I want to get better here because the industry that I'm in is very tough. It's very tough. And there's not a lot of believers. There's a lot of people that are burnt from church just all over. Yeah,
that's it. Like we're back earlier in the conversation, you know, they're tired. You're not living it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not living it.
And they see that and they're like, well, I don't want to be fake. I want to be me. I want to be this person.
Right.
And it's like, So but I've actually, on both work trips that I've gone to the company event the last couple of years, I've actually had an opportunity where, you know, where these parties that we go to after we get done working or at bars, and where I was like, hey, let's go get some fries. And this other guy was like, I'm gonna come with you. And like walking in New York in the street, looking at looking for fries at 1 a.m. in the morning, I have this conversation. He goes, hey, I kind of feel like you're a Christian, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, man, my family and I, we've tried that. And I feel like I see a difference in you, and I see that you're like honest, and you're, you know, and it's like, there's just something different. And we talked about that. And then he was encouraged enough by us talking. I'm like, let's find a local church that when you get back, you can go and start. And he did. And he got connected to a community. Yeah. And he found the people, and he started living that with his family. And then there's been other situations. And what I've come to, I'm like, all right, God, I want you to open my eyes to the opportunities. That's right. And put the opportunities in place. I want to step into those opportunities.
I do that every day.
And it can be dangerous, I think, just in general, but I think in the industry that I'm in, it can definitely be dangerous to bring up conversations around that, and you could get called out and for those things. And so that's why I think I pray for opportunities and for the door to be open, because if the door's open and they bring it up, then you're good. That protects that. But at the same time, I wonder, like, am I a bad Christian for not just like coming out with it a lot of times? And I kind of go back to like, is the Spirit leading me to do this? Because if the Spirit's leading me and I don't do it, then
you're in trouble.
I feel like that's when I'm in trouble.
Right.
But if there's not that leading, and I don't just like bring it up just out of the blue, I guess sometimes you'll
get a prompting. What I have found over the years, you will get a prompting from the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
And what I always do is I look for that window. I look for the window.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the window or the doorway
where it makes sense.
And early on, years ago, you know, I'd force it.
Yeah.
You know, I just walk in there like a bull in China closet, and I just carry a ball bat there and go hit you over the head. You know? That don't work.
You didn't find that work?
Yeah, that didn't work very well.
Yeah.
You know? And so through the promptings of the Holy Spirit and through education and through learning and trial and error, you know, it works way better if you let the Holy Spirit open the door for you first. And what I've always tried to do is I listen to your conversation intently. Yeah. And I find, through the help of the Holy Spirit, I will find a doorway to talk to you about. And then pretty soon, and I'll ask some simple question, well, how's that working for you? Yeah. Well,
and it starts leading into it.
It'll lead into it, but you got to listen intently to the person speaking to be able to walk into that doorway.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that you've done always really well is discipling and mentoring. You and Janetta discipling and mentoring men and women, but specifically you taking in these guys. It's something that I'm now doing, and I'm leaving worship ministry as a ministry in September, which is crazy to think about because of that was the goal. Just my career was going to be in that, and now it's shifted. But going into ministry, your ministry has changed several times. You kind of started out with mentoring, and then you started the Great Adventure. I remember the Great Adventure Ministry. That's where I was doing the video editing. I was also helping you with the church a little bit. You had a church in your garage, and I think you moved on to that, and you're now working with Samaritans Purse. So you've you've shifted the ministry over time, and your focus and your passion has shifted. And I'm going through a season of that right now where I'm kind of doing more with the podcast. I'm wanting to do a ministry with Courtney. I want to do ministry with Courtney.
Right.
But I find that the people around me have a hard time with that. Have you ever experienced that where like the people around you are like, no, this is your thing. Like you're so talented at this. And it's like, yeah, but that's not where God's leading me and my focus and passion. Do you have an example of that and just kind of like how you navigated that?
I go back to, I try to find biblical answers for everything.
Yeah.
And that book will tell you if you look into it. And so I kind of go back to, for which question you ask, I kind of go back to what Abraham was doing. Abraham was just fine where he was.
Yeah.
He's in, had all kinds of livestock, had all kinds of people, had all kinds, wife, kids, had it all. And God looked at him one day and said, I want you to go over there.
Yeah.
I want you to go that way.
Move the fam.
I want you to move.
Yeah.
And what did Abraham say? Okay.
Yeah.
He didn't ask how many days. He didn't ask how far. God said, I want you to go over there. Now I paraphrased all that,
Yeah.
So I kind of see it that way. If God moves me into in a direction, I'm going.
Yeah.
What does that look like? He knows what it looks like. I don't.
Sure.
I just go, and just do the best I can, with what I got and what he presents for me, and here we go,
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean it's interesting because like the people around me are like, again, saying, you're talented in that. Why wouldn't you? And it's like that's not where God's leading me anymore. And I've had to like put like a hard cutoff. People are like, well, what if you just did it for every 6 weeks?
No, see, that like, you got to understand that doesn't work.
It doesn't. No. It's not sustainable. In my 20s, I would say I would negotiate that. I had examples where I would say, okay, well, maybe I'll just do that. But then it ends up in a situation where I'm frustrated because I know I don't need to be doing that. And I'm stuck in this situation. And then they're frustrated because they can see that I'm not passionate and I'm not like focused on the task at hand. And I'm honestly at this point in my life where I'm like, I think the thing that I've realized is I need to get out of the way so that God can raise up someone that does have that passion, that focus. That's not going to happen if I try to negotiate that, and it's going to end up
you're
bad in both places.
You're just all you're doing is prolonging the situation.
Yeah, prolonging the situation.
And something else I thought about while you was talking there. It left me. That's also happens when you get older.
Oh yeah,
you'll have a thought and it'll leave you, man.
It's gone.
That's gone.
Just get out of the way.
He'll always. This is what I have found out. When the new door opens, he will close the other door for you. You won't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
You won't have to worry about how this is going to take place. When he opens a door for you to walk through, he will close that door behind you.
Yeah.
And that's happened to me in the last year.
Yeah.
That's happened.
Yeah.
Last year.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit because I want to finish up with kind of like where you are now.
Oh, okay.
You're changing in a new season, it seems, where you're working with Samaritans Purse. You have been doing this for several years. I think you just really started by like going out there and helping the people with a tornado locally.
Yeah, we started doing this 20 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was the first instance? Like, when did you first start helping?
They were at home. They're at home. There where we live. BB got hit by a big storm.
That's right. The BB tornadoes.
So we started back in '99. That's where we started. And
oh, really? That far back?
It's been we started doing it on our own, and my company financed it. At that time, we worked for free, just like we do. And then 10 years ago, Samaritans Purse came on. We had been talking to them about doing some stuff, and big storm hit, and they called me and said, would you respond to this storm? We need help.
Is that in Joplin?
No, that was in Tuscaloosa.
Tuscaloosa. Okay.
And we responded to that, and so ever since then, we've had a
working relationship
with Samaritans Purse. Yeah.
That kind of transitioned, right, for you over the last year. Where So I'm just going to tell you from my perspective.
Yeah.
I called you one day, and I said, I called you about something, and I said, hey, what are you doing? And you go, well, I didn't know you had left town. You were in Alaska.
Yeah.
And you said, well, I'm sitting here at the breakfast table, and Franklin Graham is making me pancakes.
Yep.
And I said, hold up. What? Like Franklin Graham is in like Billy Graham's son? And you said, yeah. And I didn't realize that he was the guy over Samaritans Purse. He's kind of like the head guy there.
Yeah. He's president.
And somehow, and this goes back to you will be, when it's time for you to go before kings.
The time will be right.
The time will come, and you will step into that. You, at some point, I guess people had gotten word about the work that you're doing, and like you're basically like the Avengers. You come in with this strike team before the volunteers come.
That's what we do.
And you prepare the work so that the volunteers can come in and do the rest of the ministry. You're the kind of the people that no one ever sees, but
That's
like
right.
has to. You and your team have to do their stuff before everybody else can
That's
do
what
their
we
stuff.
Do. You're exactly. You're right. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just that's the strike team, and I guess word got up to Franklin around that, and he kind of had some ideas. Is that
started back in 2011?
Okay,
that is when all
you doing the strike team stuff.
That kind of started back in 2011 or so, and then I ended up in he had a project in Alaska that he couldn't get done with volunteers, and so he called me up and said, "Would you go to Alaska? This Operation Heal Our Patriots ministry we have up there, and we got a little project I needed done."
Yeah,
and I landed up there and got out, walked over, and I went, "Is this what we're going to do?" And he goes, "Yeah, this is what we need to do." And I said, "Do you have any idea what it's going to take?" "Oh no, I ain't got no idea what it's going to take." Anyway,
did you inform him of what it would take?
Yes, I did.
What did he say?
Yeah, well, he said, "Oh, I didn't realize all that." So anyway, that started it. That started our relationship then. And so ever since, I guess, our relationship has grown over the years.
It's interesting. It's fascinating to watch from the peripheral.
It is. And so this year's been quite an exciting year for Samaritans Purse. And
because you've been, so about this past year, you've not been in town just a whole lot.
No.
I want to say
I've been gone a lot.
Yeah. I mean, just in 2019 alone,
I've just now got home in 2019.
I was going to say, I think you've been gone since December.
I've been gone since October 15th of 18.
And like this is and
when Hurricane Michael hit the Panhandle of Texas.
You're really only in town for like a week. And then, like, are you going back out soon, or is it?
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's
to be determined.
It's to be determined
because it kind of happens like in the moment.
Yeah, I get this phone call and he goes, "Hey, I need you to be XYZ or go to here," and I go, "How's that?" 24 hours.
Yeah,
and I go, "Oh, give me a few minutes."
so
it's exciting.
So is this something like, I mean, that you think could transition? Could you see yourself doing this instead of doing the business? Is like y'all are going around and
I could
ministering to this?
I could. Yeah. This would be very doable for me.
Conditions would have to be right.
Yeah, the condition, and once
with
again,
the business and everything.
Once again, I've been petitioning the throne room of God for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
About our business.
Yeah.
How do you want this to end? How long do you want us to keep it going?
Yeah.
And so now Samaritans Purse has stepped up to the plate.
Yeah.
And so we got some stuff going on there. And so we'll see. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be interesting.
It's a ride.
I think I want to have you come back in about a year.
Okay.
And talk about, because I think this next year is going to prove to be like what should happen, what's going to happen.
Yeah. This year's going to be wild.
Yeah.
I can already tell.
Let me see. I got some little guests right here.
Do you?
Yeah. You want to open that door and tell them to come in? And y'all come on in.
Come on.
There's something in their way. We got, hey, Huggy. Okay. Well, Sid, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh yeah.
I think this means we're done.
We're done.
And
we're done.
But yeah, let's follow up in about a year.
That'll work good, son.
Sounds good.
Be looking forward to it.
Yep. That's a wrap.